In 1995, a young man got accepted into Stanford University's PhD program. Physics, one of the most prestigious academic paths in the world, the kind of opportunity most people would kill for. Elon Musk quit after 2 days. 2 days. And here's the thing. That decision ended up changing the world. But today we're not talking about Tesla. We're not talking about SpaceX. We're talking about the story most people completely skip over. The one that started in a tiny rented office in Palo Alto with almost no money and ended with Elon Musk walking away with $22 million at age 27. Trust me, this story is way more interesting than you think. Let's rewind a little. Elon Musk was born in 1971 in Pretoria, South Africa. His childhood wasn't easy. His parents divorced when he was young. He got bullied badly at school, and by his own account, it was pretty rough. But books saved him, science fiction especially, Isaac Asimov, Douglas Adams. He once said books basically raised him. At 17, he left South Africa, made his way to Canada, then transferred to the University of Pennsylvania. And here's something people forget. He didn't just get 1 degree there, he got 2, economics and physics. Simultaneously, while most students are barely surviving 1 major. So by 1995, when Stanford accepted him for a doctorate in energy physics, everything looked set. Safe career, prestigious institution, clear path forward. But Musk had never been interested in safe paths, because right at that moment, something was happening that very few people fully understood yet. The internet was just starting to spark. Netscape had just gone public. The World Wide Web was still completely foreign to the majority of people on the planet. But Musk saw it. He saw that this thing, this weird, clunky, early internet was about to change everything. So he walked away from Stanford and never looked back. His younger brother Kimball came with him. The two of them rented a small office in Palo Alto, and I'm using the word office very loosely here. It was basically a single room, and because they couldn't afford both rent and a separate apartment, they just slept there. On the floor, in the office. To shower, they'd walk over to the local YMCA. Elon talked about this later. He said when he woke up in the morning, he was already at work, just rolled over and started coding. Their starting capital, $28,000 from their father. Now the question was, what were they actually going to build? The idea was straightforward, honestly. Back then, if you wanted to find a restaurant, a doctor, a hardware store in your city, you used the yellow pages. Those massive, heavy printed directories that nobody really liked using. Musk's idea was simple. Put that online. Build digital city guides and sell them to newspapers. Someone hearing that today might say, okay, not exactly revolutionary, but in 1995, this was a genuinely radical concept. Google didn't exist yet. Almost no local businesses had any online presence whatsoever. The idea of finding a plumber through a website was science fiction to most people. They called the company Zip2. But here's where it gets difficult, and this is the part people don't talk about enough. Writing the code wasn't the problem. Musk was working around the clock, building the product, improving it constantly. The real problem was selling it. He'd go door to door, walk into newspaper offices, and try to convince media executives, people who were running hugely profitable print businesses, that they needed to invest in this thing called the internet. In 1995, when most of these companies were still referring to the web as a passing fad, the rejections were constant and brutal. But here's something most people don't know about Zip2's early days. The original version of the product wasn't aimed at newspapers at all. It was built for regular consumers, individual users, and it completely flopped. Nobody was using it, so Musk pivoted. He scrapped the consumer angle entirely and repositioned the product for media companies and newspapers instead. That single strategic shift is what saved Zip2. This detail matters. because it shows something really important about how Musk operates. When something isn't working, he doesn't double down out of ego. He reads the situation fast and changes direction. No drama, no delay. Just move. Slowly, the first clients started coming in. Small regional papers at first, then bigger ones. By 1996, Zip2 was starting to get noticed. More Davidow Ventures, one of Silicon Valley's serious venture capital firms at the time, put in $3 million, and that changed everything. But not entirely in a good way, because when investors write you a check, they also want a say in how things are run. More Davidow decided they wanted a more experienced executive in the CEO role, someone with a proven track record. So Elon Musk got pushed out of the CEO seat at the company he built from nothing. Think about that for a second. You started this thing. You slept on the floor for it. You coded through the night for it. And now someone's telling you you're not in charge anymore. By all accounts, that stung deeply. Musk stayed with the company as a technical lead, but the loss of control left a mark. And if you look at how fiercely he's maintained control over Tesla, SpaceX, and X in the years since, that's not a coincidence. The lesson from Zip2 is baked into every decision he made afterward. Meanwhile, the company kept growing fast. Major deals came in: New York Times, Chicago Tribune, Knight Ridder. Zip2 had evolved from a simple city directory into a full infrastructure platform that helped big newspapers manage their entire online presence. February 1999. Compaq Computer, one of the biggest tech companies in the world at that point, came knocking. The offer, $307 million. All cash. The guy who'd been showering at the YMCA 4 years earlier walked away with $22 million. Kimball got $15 million. Elon was 27 years old. In today's money, adjusting for inflation, that's somewhere around $40 to $45 million. Now here's the part of this story I find genuinely fascinating. What did Musk do with that money? He didn't buy a Lamborghini, didn't buy a mansion, didn't take 6 months off in the south of France. He put it straight into his next company, X.com, which would eventually become PayPal. And I think that tells you everything you need to know about how Elon Musk is wired. The money itself wasn't the goal. The money was fuel. It was what the money could make possible next that mattered to him. He was already thinking 3 moves ahead. Zip2 tends to get glossed over in most Musk documentaries and articles. Tesla gets the headlines. SpaceX gets the cinematic treatment. X is always in the news. But without Zip2, none of those exist. And there are 3 lessons from this story that I think are genuinely worth sitting with. First, the pivot. When your first idea isn't working, the worst thing you can do is stay loyal to it out of stubbornness. Musk's original consumer-facing product was failing. He looked at it honestly, accepted it, and changed direction. That flexibility is what got Zip2 off the ground. Second, the cost of losing control. Being pushed out of the CEO role at his own company was a formative experience. It wasn't just about pride, it was about understanding that if you let go of the wheel, someone else will steer. Every time Musk has fought to maintain voting control in his ventures since then, he's been responding to what happened at Zip2. Third, and maybe most importantly, money as a tool, not a trophy. At 27, with $22 million, Musk had enough to live comfortably for the rest of his life. He chose not to, because for him, that money represented one thing: the ability to take a bigger swing. You can't really understand Elon Musk without understanding that. Zip2 started as 2 brothers sleeping on an office floor, showering at a gym, cold calling newspapers who didn't want to hear from them. 4 years later, it sold for $307 million. But here's the thing. In the context of Elon Musk's life, this was just the opening scene. Because when he took that $22 million and walked into his next venture, X.com, the online bank that would eventually become PayPal and permanently rewire how money moves around the internet. That's when things got really interesting. And that story is coming next. If you found this one worth your time, stick around. Subscribe if you haven't already, because the next chapter is honestly better than this one.